Heinrich frowns as his eyes sweep over the manufactorum's dark halls. No solemn ceremony and no personal meeting with the Magi. I fear we are too late, and we won't be dealing with clandestine heretics after all. Yeah, so I know when we got to Dargonus, we had quite a few events that popped up that said because we took too long getting there, because we went to Janus first, things were worse at Dargonus, and if we had rushed to Dargonus first, we would have had an easier time, but Janus would have been worse. We've definitely taken too long since we've done literally everything else we could before getting to Kaba Gamma, so we're probably in a bad state. Binary arias of alarm stream out of Pascal's Vox synthesizer. In their neurotic, broken rhythm, you sense a call to arms and a warning of danger. Remind me, what is your mission on Kaba Gamma? Any suggestions on how to proceed? We'll learn nothing by standing here, let's go. What is your mission on Kaba Gamma? I assumed I would conduct an investigation and track down traces of the Cult of the Final Dawn. I believe I can discard that plan now. Both the incident with the scrap code and the manner in which we were forced to land on Kaba Gamma indicate that the situation has taken a turn for the worse. Nevertheless, I must use this opportunity to try to determine what the cult was doing on Industrial World, and what specifically interested them on a planet full of sacred machines and servants of the Omnissiah. First, we must find someone who can tell us what's been going on here. Onyx pauses, trying to hear something, if that is, there's anyone left here to speak to. Any suggestions on how to proceed? To start, let's look around and find out why the arrival of the rogue trader did not elicit the usual fuss. To speak plainly, I would not count on a warm welcome at this rate. Better keep your weapon at the ready. Well, we'll learn nothing by standing here, let's go. The interrogator nods, continuing to stare into the surrounding gloom. Ooh, level ups for all of us. I guess we'll start with ourselves. We're getting close to finishing up this archetype. We can't boost willpower. Shame. 90 willpower is pretty incredible. I guess next best that we've been focusing on is agility. And to some extent ballistics. I don't really care about ballistics. I hardly ever pull out my gun. So probably keep boosting agility, I suppose. And a new... Ooh, Psyker Extremis is available. Yes, because I definitely need to raise my Psi rating even higher. It's certainly not high enough yet. Haha! Oh, we're gonna destroy things. I'm so happy. Alright, Abelard. You've got basic... things for being a Imperial-born world. Whatever your world is, and for being an Imperial Navy officer. Which I don't care about either of those. So... yeah. Characteristics, but looks like the characteristics I would care about. Strength, toughness, weapon skill he's already gotten. I could just give him a bonus to parry. It's not a terrible call. He is using axes. So making the sweep ability cheaper wouldn't be a bad call. Nimble is dodge bonus. Power armor proficiency sounds cool, but I don't think we've even found any power armor. But getting him in power armor would feel super good. I'm thinking of these. The only options is either training up random skills or melee weapon specialist, I think is our best choice. So you'll get that. Cassia. We've got nothing marked as interesting for you. Ebb and Flow never really struck me as that interesting. 1 extra action point is meh, or 20 perception every other turn is also not that impressive. +2 perception, no. Enemies damaged by the navigator suffer additional 7 damage from all attacks of opportunity. We don't get attacks of opportunity on enemies very often. No, none of that strikes me as that important. I could boost characteristics. Hello. Raise their perception to an even 80. That doesn't strike me as a bad call. I don't think any of the rest of these are going to matter to me overly much. So yeah, we'll boost your perception. Pascal, you get a characteristic. We can't go with intelligence or weapon skill. I could boost strength. I think I shall, to get that to an even 50. Persuasion, coercion, and commerce based on intelligence. If we chose that, is this saying you'd get a +40 to what you currently have? No, you currently have some pluses. Well, I guess it's saying that those are based on fellowship, which is 25, and it would change it to intelligence, which is 65. It would, in fact, be a +40 beyond what they all are. So if I did that, he would suddenly have persuasion, coercion, and commerce. He'd have a 75, 75, 80. Nice, but Cassia is there for all of those. +4 deflection against the burning effect. And flame weapons. Not that important, but occasionally I do catch my melee characters in fire when I do my area attack. So that could protect him a bit. No. No, none of those really strike me as that important. So we could do the same, boosting characteristics or boosting skills. I could actually boost his intelligence here. Does he have the power weapon expert? He does. Not terribly surprising. Yeah, let's just boost his intelligence. Get that to an even 70. Heinrichs. You should also have Psyker Extremis available. So yeah, let's raise your Psy rating. Always an easy choice for a Psyker. So he's Psy rating 4 as well. That means when we light ourselves on fire, we go up to Psy rating 5. Alright, you can't boost your ballistic skill. So I guess perception. And then skill-wise, can't do demolition. Awareness is a skill that you've been fairly high on. Same with lore Imperium. I'll go with awareness. Then you get a talent. We'll go share the spoils. And then lastly, I guess, yeah, lastly, one more talent. Can I do anything with characteristics for you? Your ballistics is still unable to be chosen. So I could boost your perception even higher. Yeah, I don't know about flame weapons. I keep looking at them and they keep not interesting me because of how close she would have to get. Maybe if she had power armor. She's got the proficiency, but we just haven't found any power armor. Interesting that power armor has a power armor proficiency has a prerequisite of strength 45. She has strength 30, but she already has it anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Or I could just boost skills, because once we get to the advanced skills, then we get automatic rerolls, which feels good. But no, we'll just boost your perception as well. Yeah. Alright. We've got our team. We're ready to go.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
No, please move everyone, not just Ignatius. Our party order is terrible again. We want Heinrichs and Abelard up front. Cassia in back. And Argenta in the middle. There we go. Pascal, please unlock that for me.
My success is an irrefutable certainty.
Yes, you are quite good at lockpicking. That's probably going to be a fight. Corrupted servitors. They're not showing up as attackers right now, but I'm sure they will in a moment. Okay, let's talk to you. The servitor before you appears as if they are performing some elaborate and confusing dance. Striking strange poses, they rock back and forth with their arms bent at peculiar angles. Upon your approach, one of these servitors jerks and tries to turn in your direction. The rest immediately repeat the motion. The strange scene is complemented by a grating sound, dull clicks just at the edge of your hearing, coming from an unknown source. Observe the servitor closest to you. Based on a cursory inspection, you conclude that the servitors were designed for precision work on an assembly line, possibly circuit production. The number of high-quality, expensive augments in their bodies greatly exceeds basic standards. The servitor's hand moves. It is slowly reaching towards you. Stop, avoid its touch, or strike its hand. I'm going to not strike its hand because if it's got delicate machinery, I'd rather not damage it if I don't have to. I will just quickly dodge out of the way. Gently and swiftly, you step away from the servitor. It stretches out its hand as if trying blindly to touch you in the space that you have already left, and still, once more. It seems its brain is incapable of quickly processing changes in its surroundings. Let's find the source of the repeated clicks. Soon enough, you locate the source of the clicking. On the back of the servitors, a tumor oozing with murky ichor is growing straight through the augments. The relays coated in inflamed tissue are blocked, hence the reason for the persistent clicking. A mutation in the servitor? Tech priests typically reject the use of flawed soft tissue for their constructs. Perhaps something has caused this aggressive growth, and quite recently. Hello, can you hear me? The closest servitor twitches, and the others follow suit. It is clear that the entire group is connected by a single machine spirit, and something caused it to stop working. One of the servitors must have a fault in its cogitator or some other augment, and that fault has ended up affecting the whole group. Find the malfunctioning augment and disable it. I think it's the tumor. So let's attempt to cut away the tumor forming on the spinal cogitator. Without much difficulty, you cut the excess flesh from the mechanisms. The liberated relay lets out a rapid burst of clicks, then a spark flashes before your eyes and something begins to hum deep inside the servitor's flesh. As if on cue, the servitor stops moving, lowers their arms, and turns to you. Crew 24, second lane of the Manufactorum, commencing work. State your request. The servitor addressing you is looking past you, and the voice is coming from the vox built into its throat. Follow your default programming or deactivate your service is done. Follow your default programming. Part of me thinks we shouldn't send them back into whatever is going wrong on this planet. But also part of me thinks that getting things back on track might be the way to fixing whatever's wrong. So follow your default programming. Which is hopefully not murdering people. I guess your default programming is to stand around. We have two computers that we don't know what they do when we click on them. Let's click on one of them. The cogitator's panel has dozens of breakers, buttons, handles, switches, and other control mechanisms. Let's view the log. You discover the local data crypt with contents collected by either previous operators or the machine spirit itself. Using your access, you study the archives stored on the cogitator. View the first log data. Praise be to the Omnisci, whose might and power transforms dead metal to make manifest the holy visions of the machine god. The new protocols received at the Synod from the great fabricator censor have been executed, despite those who shuddered at the thought of changing the standard procedure. Embolden your hearts, those whose inner weakness breeds errors in personal calculations. For the fabricator censor is the conductor of the higher will and the wisest among us. So the fabricator censor, the highest ranking tech priest, gave a protocol to change the standard procedure, which is probably what led to all of this going wrong. Let's view the second log. Today, the Supreme Assembly, the Fabricator Censor, unsealed the vaults of the sacred designs and committed those deemed redundant or heretical to purifying disposal. Today, dozens of standard procedures were lost, to be replaced by new ones, which the Fabricator Censor will deliver to those who demonstrate the greatest devotion to serving the truth. But the databanks contain no notion of truth. Could there have been, may the all-knowing one, the gracious keeper, forgive me, an error in the Fabricator Censor's calculations? And he meant to say, serving the quest for knowledge? So, the vaults were unsealed, and he burned a bunch of the standard procedures with replacements. Probably they're heretical. View the third log data, which is hidden by the protection of the machine spirit. Pascal, please unencrypt that data for me. Your knowledge of machine spirits is sufficient to trick the system and subdue it to your will. A false query, a crafty manipulation of the controls, and you get what you want. The instrumental terminals have already been replaced, and the material delivery systems are being prepared for divine transformation. The execution of the new procedure has been delayed, for there are some in our rank who doubt the words of the Fabricator Censor and his votaries, and there are some who are not susceptible to the enhanced protocol that carries our tech comrades to enlightenment. May the deliveries of fate be merciful to them. Inaction is death, and I must be returning to our great work. Praise be to the truth that will reveal the path to the knowledge shrouded in darkness. So before they were supposed to be serving the quest of knowledge, now the Fabricator Censor is pushing them towards the truth. Devotion to serving the truth. And whoever is writing this is now praise be to the truth. So they've been corrupted fully. Step away from the cogitator. What about this one? Is it the same thing? Before you is an ancient and holy typical counsel, intended for the use by people not trained in the mysteries of ministering to machine spirits. The cogitator is completely silent, but as you approach, you sense the warmth emanating from its metallic casing, a telltale sign the machine is working. Let's view the log. You discover the local data crypt with contents collected by either previous operators of the machine spirit itself. Using your access, you study the archives stored on this cogitator. Okay, so it is the same thing. The vast data repositories contain millions of strings related to receiving raw materials for processing, shipping processed metals, schedules for sacred rituals to be performed over the machines coming off the production line. The manufactorum once operated like one gargantuan, well-oiled mechanism. The last record is from 2 months ago, so we hadn't read that. Alright.
None shall stand in my way.
Your mind is swathed in blue-grey smoke, Master Van Calox. A heavy color for heavy thoughts, I presume?
You are a dangerous person, Lady Orselio. Well, all navigators are, but your abilities place you in a special category.
Yep. Massive cogwheel constantly drives the colossal gear system, which is lost in the haze. You hear dull thuds from within the thick metal, as if some process endlessly pounding is running in the depths of these pipes. Got some more goods there. Doesn't look like there's anything this way. I suspect that this will drop down and connect so we can go back and forth up there later on. The 16 Universal Laws, the Mysteries. A tome containing revelations of the Omnissiah, recorded in special binaric dialect. Only a member of the cult Mechanicus with a key to the cipher may partake of the wisdom of the machine god. Oh. The corrupted servitors are actually following me.
Follow my lead.
I was not expecting that. The lumps protruding under the tech priest's bedraggled red robe hint at the mechanisms implanted in his body. You see his haggard and sickly face under the archaic respirator augment. A click, a clank, a barely audible hiss, and only then the tech priest's box finishes the word identification. Request denied. Pascal turns to you, his visor gleaming crimson, registering anomalous behavior within this servant's organics and an invalid noosphere response. This unit is compromised. Let's examine the tech priest. You carefully study the robe-clad figure. A black border of necrosis spreads out from around the tech priest's implants. For some reason, his body is rejecting the true flesh. A moment later, you recognize the dominant smell in the bouquet of scents permeating the air around the tech priest. The stench of rotten meat. Alright, Pascal denied our identification, which probably is a reasonable choice. Who are you? The tech priest clicks his relay. Magos Custos of the Machine Sanctum, Tier 2-0, identification. The Fabricator Sensor is a traitor to the Imperium and humanity. I will not comply with any protocols approved by him. Where's the Fabricator Sensor? I will speak with the person in charge of this manufactorum. What's happening on this planet? Why is the governor not responding to the ship's hails? What are heretic ships doing in this system? Attack is about time you're scrapped. Where's the Fabricator Sensor? I will only speak with the person in charge of this manufactorum. Denied. The irregularity demands execution of Protocol 3942 in accordance with the Fabricator Sensor's decree. The Fabricator Sensor is a traitor to the Imperium and humanity. I will not comply with any protocols approved by him. Anticipated process disrupted. Execution of disposal protocol recommended. The tech priest draws his weapon and his robes open. Your senses are hit by a fetid wave of rot. Ah, I was right. That did come down. Alright, you are... I wish that in here they would show... I think when we are preparing to start the battle, they don't show the difficulties of the enemies. But you're level 4. You are also level 4, Magos Heretic. You are probably just level 3, actually. Or rating 3? Yeah, you're all 3s. So this is actually theoretically a difficult fight. Well, let's get our ranged characters here. I'm gonna put everyone in cover facing that way, with the assumption that we will deal with this guy quickly. Let's put you guys, Heinrichs and Abelard, up front to tank them. Pascal, you will work on dealing with this guy. I think my tech priest can beat your tech priest, but I'm not sure. He has 161 health and Pascal has 75. I might need to light him on fire. Let's set front line to here. Time to test the new psi rating? Absolutely.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Then we will give our... Let's give our crit bonus to ourself, I suppose.
Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
And the dodge bonus to you two. Now, let's do voice of command. No. Reveal the light.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
To give us a willpower bonus. I guess we'll still do voice of command.
I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
Then bring it down.
Possible.
We'll light ourselves on fire. 11 to 19 damage to ourselves. That is significant.
Nothing I can't do.
18 damage. It feels like our psi rating is getting high enough that our resistance to burning and to fire damage is not quite up to the task. Let's orchestrate flames so we stay on fire, and it cuts our bleeding in half, or burning in half. So we're only taking 2 now. Sadly, that's the end of our turn. We didn't get the freebie. Let's see. Anything else you can do? I guess let's set this up as a kill zone.
I am a navigator, not a servitor.
And call that good for you. Argenta. Well, let's set you up as a bounty. Camera? Can you see this one to set them as a bounty? You can't. Alright, that's fine. Do I go with... Wow, that is doing no damage. Huh. 3 to 5 damage with your sniper rifle. If you went with the... Oh, I do have the flamer out. I guess we got rid of the bolter at some point, and I have clearly forgotten. If I put her here, and then use this, I can avoid my allies and hit nearly all of them. Very tempting. What is the difference? Both 3 AP. Attack sets the area on fire for 1 round. creatures in a wide cone, dealing fire damage and inflicting burning. This one does not claim it causes burning. This would stop movement, so if I did that, she couldn't pull back afterwards. Still not necessarily a bad call. So that will use 3 AP. Let's undo that. So you have 2 more AP I want to spend. I could do, say, a piercing shot. Actually, I can run and gun. So I can go up, light them on fire, then run and gun and step back and still use the rest of my AP to do stuff. That's the call. So we move here. Let's burn them, because I think giving them burning is far more important than lighting the ground on fire, since I need my allies to be able to move forward. So, yes, inflict burning on all of them.
I'll do it.
Cool. Then run and gun. You'll get back into cover. And now you've got a free shot. So I've got 1 AP to boost that shot in some way. I think armor penetration is probably pretty good, because I'm sure that's part of my problem here is you probably have crazy armor. 90% armor, yeah, and 7 deflection. That's a problem. Plasma pistol, yeah, that's real bad news. So let's do some armor penetration.
Faith without deeds is worthless.
And take our shot.
I'll do it. This is why I was chosen.
Good stuff. And Furious Recital.
As the Emperor commands, I act.
I think that is a good turn for you. Alright, let's light you on fire.
Nothing I can't do.
Good start. Then I can run and gun.
All too easy.
I'm inclined to go with Firestorm. Yeah. Well, there is something to be said for something like Melta. Oh, yeah. Assuming we get the crit, that nearly kills him. I mean, I could do the same thing here. Just to get rid of this guy. Or we do Firestorm. Means the Magos is still there, but the rest of them are nearly taken care of. No, I think I need to focus on taking out the big guys. Let's try taking you out. Or, because your burning is pretty terrible, right? Yeah, 0. What do I have on you? 25. I think I need to give you a proper amount of burning. There you go. Only burning 10, actually. So you're still not burning by much. That is a shame. We'll do an Orchestrate Flames on you to keep you burning.
Not a problem for me.
And then an Inflame to hit all of you with fire damage. And make the fire damage do more. Perfect. There we go. That's looking a bit better. And you are nearly going to die just from burning. I could use my high momentum right now to get another attack off. And I think I will.
My time.
That'll give me one more attack. And then I will use Firestorm.
Go hand in hand.
Back to high momentum. Fantastic. Oh, Heinrichs. You apparently got caught in that blast. Oh, Deadman switch. Apparently Abelard also got hit by a bit. Did not realize they had a Deadman switch going on. Good stuff.
My ears are ringing.
Oh, we've got a fresh injury on Heinrichs now. Alright, well, Abelard, you can charge. And take him out, I'm sure.
You and down.
There you go. Not really anything left for you to do. Endure. What are you servitors gonna do? Okay. Alright, Heinrichs, can you heal yourself so that you're not having the injury? Yes. Get rid of your fresh injury, please. I don't want to deal with that. Perfect. Can you charge from there? Yes. Maybe. It's showing that you're moving through Pascal Square.
Everyone, step aside. Be gone.
Not the best first contact with the world's inhabitants. I hope we will find someone more willing to hold a conversation, willingly or not, or more able to hold a conversation. Omniscient Axe. Reject the Flesh rank 1. And a Crack Grenade. How does that axe compare to Pascal's? I guess we'll look at this other one first as well. Plasma Pistol. Pascal, you have an Omniscient Axe. Is this better in any way? Probably not. No. Very much no. Let's send both of those to cargo. Looks like all we can do is head up here.
It's about
There we
time.
go. I'm like, why is it just darkness? Alright, we've got Cogitator here. Something we can look at back there. Something we can... No. Whatever that is, we can't get to it from here. Alright. Let's check out the Cogitator first. Okay. So that could take us back over there. I don't know if we want to go that way first or not. Look at our map. Yeah, I don't know where the various paths all go. Got some goods here. I mean, I can just keep an eye out to make sure I'm not leaving any
Look, over there.
goods behind before we leave. Please dismantle that for me.
I better myself
challenge
through my
for me?
service.
Thank you. More warp, but it's over on that side, so we'll get to it later. Random blood streak, it looks like. Blood mixed with machine oil is barely visible on the dark floor. Do we have to time this? I guess back up, people. Oh, come on now.
Van Kellogg's. Focus.
See? Right there.
Alright,
What is it, rogue
you
trader? But
heal
of
yourself.
course, Lord Captain.
I'm restless.
You heal yourself.
Ministration is a holy task.
Data meditation is
You are in the
Abelard, you don't actually have any of these on you. Advanced med kits, large med kits. Just basic med kits is fine. Let's have you use that on the rogue trader. Okay,
I've seen a
you
lot
have
of
finished
goodness.
using that on yourself. Use
I've
it
yet to see
on...
someone remain so after an interrogation.
Oh, we're still standing in steam? Guys.
Help me, Lord Captain!
Okay, pause for a moment. Alright, now,
Innocence proves nothing.
heal Ignatius.
Join me in prayer.
You heal yourself. Unfortunately, you have the crippled arm. There's no way for us to get it back. I think. Do any of the better medkits allow dealing with... Removes one fresh injury, or if none exist, attempts to remove one old injury. Ooh. Oh, so we can attempt to remove a fresh, an old injury with basic medkits. That's good stuff. Heal yourself,
Blessed be
Argenta.
the hand of the healer.
What
All right.
ails you?
Have you heal Cassia now. Let's have you
I woke
attempt
up with
to...
a feeling of wonder, as if
attempt
a
to
field
heal
of
yourself.
flowers was blossoming nearby. A child was saved
Also get
from
more
death.
grenades.
1,000 heretics were burning alive, begging and sobbing and howling.
Let's see, that's good for armor penetration. So we'll get one of those grenades. Alright, you will try and heal your old injury.
Ministration is a holy task.
You're healing Cassia.
What
You
advice do you seek?
heal yourself.
Ah, careful now.
Looks like Argenta was unsuccessful.
Do you require inquisitorial approval?
You heal Pascal. Argenta,
Sins hidden
please
in the heart
heal yourself.
turn all to decay.
Still not successful.
Remember, innocence proves nothing.
Can you heal her lasting injury with that ability? My guess is no. No. And it says
When the
attempt.
faithful are idle, heresy grows.
Attempts to remove one old injury. I don't know what the difficulty is on that. But she's used multiple medkits on herself unsuccessfully to remove that. So I'm going to assume that we can't get that back this mission, which is bad because a minus 20 to ballistics for her is bad news. But alright. It is what it is. I didn't see a way to turn off that steam, although maybe if we... I was hoping just running through with good timing would do it. But maybe we should have gone down here to that computer, and maybe that would have turned off the steam. That's probably a reasonable assumption. Dark patches can be seen on the floor. They are smudged as though someone walked through them on the way to the footbridge.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Hey, Lexmechanic. And all of my servitors that are equally very injured. A small, heavily augmented man in a filthy, tattered robe stands before you. As you approach, he hesitantly looks up at you, his eyes filled with horror. A portable inscriber with a keyboard hangs from straps at his front, and you can see his detached cerebral cogitator peeking out from under his hood. You have nothing to fear from us. What's this, another one of the cultist minions? No, it sounds like he realized that there was heretical code going around and detached his own cerebral cogitator to save himself. So he's probably one of the few that is still sane. Death to the slaves of the archenemy. You have nothing to fear from us. Deus Mechanicus. The tech priest decides to take a better look at you, after which he lets out a ragged breath and manages to subdue his shaking. He heard my prayers. I thought I was alone in a kingdom of madness and depravity. Please save me. Tell us who you are and what happened to you. I am Manufactorum Lexmechanic Zeta 86. I perform the rituals for the machine spirits of Foundry 95, up until we started going mad. Priest devoted the Omnissiah suddenly started praising the dawn of something or other. They stopped the belts, and then they desecrated the visages of the sacred machines with unholy symbols. Some of them resisted, the others grabbed them, tied them up, and then they turned their implants to heresy. I saw the madmen, my former tech comrades, deliberately connect those poor souls to corrupted cogitators. I watched as they were infected with the scrap code. It did nothing to stop them. I am recording a violation of the commandment of thine own forge, be a true sentinel. Apostate Zeta 86, your accesses are hereby revoked. Proceed with your report. One of the few that stayed sane. And he's like, yeah, but you didn't fight off the entire army of this entire cultist by yourself. So you're a heretic. The icy rumble coming from Pascal's Vox causes the Lexmechanic to lower his head in fear and contrition. How did you manage to avoid the same fate? How did your great comrades behave? You mentioned someone imprisoned on the lower levels. Now, how did you avoid the same fate? I didn't avoid it. They performed the same procedure on me. I felt the touch of unholy code. I allowed it to control me. I abandoned my sacred post and followed one of the traitors, serving his will and gathering all the data for his blasphemous experiments. I was driven by an unholy impulse coming from the depths of my auxiliary cogitator, where the code had lodged itself. Before I found a way to throw off the compulsion, I witnessed horrifying heresy, the extraction of true flesh and its decomposition on altars, perverse procedures that resulted in heretical abominations. I even accompanied a fallen Magos to the fabricator censor himself and attended the unholy mass he led personally. It was a wicked ritual full of willful deviations and blatant inaccuracies, all to create an ungodly monster in the name of the final dawn. You don't act like the other priests who are infected with the corruption. You mentioned a monster. Is that some kind of weapon? You don't act like the other priests who are infected with the corruption. The Lexmechanic gestures at the wires and connectors spilling out from under his hood. Praise the gifts of the Omnissiah, I managed to disconnect my external cogitator, which I used for primary data processing. The machine is corrupted. The scrap code is locked inside it, like a beast in a cage, but anyone who tries to look inside will fall victim to the heretical program. My primitive brain has been marked by corruption. I still see their silhouettes, hear their interferences. I sense the malfunctions in my augmetics, but I was still saved from the great sacrifice. Oh, blessed are the workings of the Omnissiah and his benediction that shelters the weak from evil. Heinrich tenses ever so slightly at the Lexmechanic's words. You see his hands casually stray to the handle of his weapon, but the interrogator is in no hurry to act. Yeah, we can still learn more. He's not entirely corrupt. Just partially. You mentioned a monster. Is that some kind of weapon? No, not those constructs that are melted down in furnaces and sent into the depths of the manufactorum. It is some kind of semblance of a cogitator, a nightmarish parody of a sacred machine, powered not by the omnisci's grace, but by the unholy spirits and life force of the unfortunates imprisoned on the lower levels. I don't know much, except that the fabricator censor saw the machines as special. It was special to him and to the crazies who defiled the omnisci's abode with their obscene blasphemy. For the final ritual, he even called upon one of the Astartes heretics who arrived at the manufactorum after the start of the uprising. He did something terrible, and only after that were they able to switch the machine on. So we've got cultist space marine, and they're probably building some sort of demon engine, is my guess. It is a true abomination. Even standing near it is unbearable. I believe that even those who have been deprived of the omnisci's grace still feel its influence on them. Its monstrous power, utilized for unholy computations and chaotic calculations. Whatever the cogitator might spew out at the end of its cycle, no righteous soul should accept its heinous offering. How did your crazed comrades behave? Like the grace of the omnici had left them entirely, replacing free thought and progress with blackest corruption. I've witnessed them desecrating structures blessed by the fabricator censor himself, though what do the blessings of that rotten traitor count for now? Like men possessed, they set upon the sacred instruments and assembled shells and nodes that didn't match any diagram or blueprint I'd ever seen. Sacrilege. You mentioned someone imprisoned on the lower levels? The lay servants of the main units. They live in isolated segments under the sacred machine halls. I heard they were locked in there after the takeover. Then my crazed brethren changed this system for disposing of slag waste and covered the machines in cursed symbols. The Lexmechanic hesitates. After they started the cogitator, they dragged the survivors out of the segments under the machine halls. Well, what the survivors had turned into. You demonstrate exceptional powers of observation and recall for someone who just happened to survive. I'm a Lexmechanic. Gathering data is the purpose of my existence. That's even what they used me for. He trails off belatedly, understanding the subtext of the interrogator's words. They used me against my will. The scrap code turns everyone into their slave, but I rid myself of the cogitator. I was forced to serve alongside those who perpetrated these atrocities and witnessed their obscenities. Heinrich, what do you make of it? The interrogator tilts his head. Servant of the Omnissiah, I must know more about the Final Dawn, the fabricator censor, his mass, and about this machine as well. I could give you the coordinates, but the Lexmechanic drops his head. Even though I was present for many blasphemies committed by those heretics, all the details that were captured and processed by my true flesh are in the augmetic that was corrupted by the scrap code. I'm convinced that if I hadn't fought off the foreign compulsion in time, I would have been doomed. The corruption would have spread to my biological cogitator as well. The Lexmechanic taps his fingers on the device hanging from his ear on several wires. I swear that no devout tech priest should come into contact with what's hidden in the once sacred device. Heinrich's expression shifts as he stares intently at the disconnected implant and the still intact connectors protruding from under the Lexmechanic's collar. The corner of his mouth twitches involuntarily. Yeah, disconnected, but there are still intact connectors going under his collar. So how disconnected is he truly? Abelard notices a look on Heinrich's face, and once he does, he sighs heavily and looks away. Can the cogitator be disconnected and reconnected to another machine? The Lexmechanic shakes his head in reproach. Even if the very idea of exposing a holy machine to the scrap code wasn't profane in itself, my augmetics are not universally compatible. They cannot be connected to another machine spirit. They were created to interact with this system of my true flesh, to innervate my compulsor unit and output data via the inscriber. Once I am safe, I swear that I will immediately perform a cleansing rite and destroy... In other words, there is only one way to extract the data stored in the cogitator. Heinrich's no, don't do it. What are you talking about? If we connect the cogitator to the augmetics system, the Lexmechanic will serve as a conduit for transmitting the data. We will learn the details, even if they are incomplete, of the things he saw and heard, but is now unable to recall. Lexmechanic, who has been listening to your discussion in puzzlement, finally understands what is going to happen to him, and he begins to back away in fear. No, anything but that, I'll die. No, it'll be worse than that. I'll succumb to the corruption. I'm begging you. Please, I'd rather be burned as a heretic than have the scrap code in my biological cogitator. At these words, Heinrich pauses for a fraction of a second, almost as if he is reconsidering. In failing to offer any resistance against the enemies of the Omnissiah, Unit Zeta 86 lost the grace of his machine rank and was recategorized as a resource of the Manufactorum. The defilement and torment of said resource, if committed to advance the struggle against heresy, will not be deemed an apostasy or malefaction against a living soul. Upon expiry of the unit's utility disposal, upon expiry, the unit's utility disposal is recommended. Iconoclast as Heinrich stopped, the leaders of the cult would never discuss anything of importance in front of witnesses. Leave the war man alone. Reasonable. We don't know, but possible. Or dogmatic. We cannot allow the information to go to waste. One life is a small price to pay for the good of the Imperium. I'm definitely leaning towards this one, the dogmatic option, because we know that he still said that some of the corruption got to him. He managed to stop it before it got too far, but his flesh isn't 100%. And he's still at least partially wired in to the computation. So it's... I don't think there is a long-term situation where he gets to live a happy, fulfilling life. Even if we went with the iconoclast option. So... like, from an Inquisition standpoint, someone who has touched that level of corruption, there's no... maybe they can repent and be fine. It's like, no, you touch corruption, you just die. You can be replaced by someone who hasn't touched corruption. So, from Heinrich's point of view, it's pretty clear. I think I'm going dogmatic. We cannot allow the information to go to waste. One life is a small price to pay for the good of the Imperium. For the good of the Imperium. Like a snake, Heinrich lunges at the Lexmechanic, whose mouth opens in the beginning of a squeal. Yeah, I'm with you on this, Heinrich. It feels bad, but it's got to be done. I don't know if Heinrich agrees that it feels bad, but it feels bad to me at least. Pinning the babbling Lexmechanic, Heinrich uses his free hand to feel for the connectors of the external cogitator, and then for the socket at the back of his captive's neck. Lexmechanic struggles a few times, but when Heinrich twists the reel on the cogitator's hanging wires, the Lexmechanic lets out a chilling howl and arches his back sharply. His hands twitch and leap to the inscriber and begin typing furiously, pounding on the keys with huge force. Cassie, who has been stoically observing everything, flinches and averts her gaze when the Lexmechanic starts crushing his own fingers into a pulp. Yeah. This has got to be worse for her because she is so in tune with the state of people's minds and souls. The scroll that creeps out of the inscriber's printer continues to grow, undulating in waves of parchment that settle on the floor. The crunch of breaking bones can scarcely be heard over the hammering of the keys. After several minutes, the Lexmechanic's fingers are well and truly crushed and blood is splattered over the inscriber, but that does not stop him from trying in vain to press the keys with the scraps of bones and skin that remain. Heinrich tears off the parchment and skims his eyes over it, sometimes frowning and looking away as though his eyes are paining him. It will take time to study this in full, but at first glance, the data from this Lexmechanic's cogitator suggests something of the nature of the cult's major preparations. Refitting the Manufactorum, accumulating resources, mentioning a focus points. These are preparations for a large-scale chaos ritual. It appears the local cogitator, whatever that may be in actuality, is one of the key points in this list. We can learn more if we find the construct that was created on the fabricator sensor's orders. The coordinates here is located here in the bowels of the Manufactorum. Heinrich casts a final look at the Lexmechanic, now locked forever in a cycle of mindless motion, and turns away. We'd better hurry. We aren't killing him? We're just leaving him there. Okay.